is a pain in the butt. You hit your ball in the trees and then you lip out the putt. But if you've got a little time, then come and spend it with us. Cause now you're listening to the Rough Cut.
The sponsor of today's podcast and the last probably like 8 or 9 weeks
probably more,
is NordVPN. Now, the guys at NordVPN have looked after us, and they love looking after you as well. This year, you know, you've probably got some new gadgets for Christmas. Mm-hmm. You've just opened up your new iPhone. What number are we on?
15, 16, 17.
Wow.
I don't update mine much.
No, I'm still on the old 14. I have a rule that I'm not allowed to replace it until it breaks.
Good rule.
Which makes sense. But say you did open a new gadget and you wanted to make sure that you're protected whilst using it on the internet. If you travel, you want to make sure that you can use that gadget in the countries that you're traveling to view the things that you want to watch in your home country.
Yeah.
In order to do that, you need NordVPN, because they're going to protect you while you're traveling around the world, while you're shopping online, while you're putting your bank details into websites that you don't necessarily trust. You've got your VPN turned on. Everything's protected for you. And they're going to do all of that in their deal, where if you buy a 2-year plan, they will just chuck in 4 completely free months for you.
Yeah.
Which is great, because we like free stuff.
Yeah.
We like being
just
protected.
like how Nan chucked in that 20 quid into your Christmas card.
20?
Yeah, I know. But the good thing about that is you can take that 20 quid and that basically covers your VPN for ever, because it's so cheap.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, oh my God, that's actually really true. Thanks, Nan.
Yeah. Thanks, Nan. When you're writing your thank you card. Thank you, Nan, for my NordVPN.
Yeah, NordVPN. We should actually send the guys at NordVPN a Christmas card, because they've looked after us so well this year. They've been a great partner of the Rough Cut Golf Podcast channel. We know that lots of you have been signing up for the plan and getting your free months and stuff, so we'd love to hear about you guys using the offers that we have for you. So thanks again to NordVPN for sponsoring the show for the last few months. And yeah, hope go and do it, because they're the best. And it's so cheap and it's so affordable and it's so secure and it's great. So Jacob, welcome. What I would love for people to do is to put this on in the background, get the fire roaring.
Yeah.
Find yourself some leftovers, the toy that you wanted to open, but you maybe haven't opened all the way yet. Get it open. Get yourself a nice drink. Sit down and listen to us chat about all the absolute nonsense we have already chatted about through 2025. Let's start at the very beginning. South Africa. You went to South Africa this year?
No, I didn't. I went in 2020.
What?
No, I went. It was this time last year. Yeah, it was December. It was December last year.
You're quite right. It was
so,
December.
No, but hey, I'll talk about it until the cows come home if you want. That's fine. It was
the video started coming out in January.
Yes, it was kind of how we kicked off the year. It was an incredible trip. The first trip we went with Golf Breaks, who throughout all of this year we went on some other incredible trips. And yeah, it was kind of the start of the content for this year, really, which feels so long ago.
I know.
Wow.
That's why I wanted to lead with it, because honestly,
yeah.
it does feel like it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, crazy.
But those videos came out at the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
The first video was Fan Court.
Yes. Oh my God, what a place. That is. I don't know in terms of. It's always hard with a course listings, because it's what you base it on. Are you basing it on quality or enjoyment or whatever like that? But I genuinely think the links at Fan Court is could even be on a top 5 for me.
Wow.
Just because of the quirkiness of the fact that it literally looks like they've taken a Scottish links and put it in South Africa. It was just the juxtaposition of it was so weird, but so cool. And the course was really, really good. The condition was incredible. We had Rainbow as our caddy.
Yeah, he was a great character.
Was amazing. Man of few words, but when he spoke, you listened.
Yeah.
It was that's probably one of the most favorite courses I think I've filmed at, really, on this 6 years that I've been doing this. So yeah, no, it was a big start to the year. We were excited for those videos, and well, hopefully we're going to kick off the start of next year in a similar fashion.
Oh yeah,
we've got some big plans next year. So
we have. I imagine that the first video on the main channel when this is coming out. Let's work out when this is coming out. The first video on the main channel basically is going to break down what's about to happen.
Yes.
So this pod will be coming out on the 30th.
Oh yeah, we're fine.
So 2 days away, on Thursday the 1st,
Yeah.
is going to be the first Peter Finch golf video of the year. We're going to break down some things that are changing, some things that are going away, some things that are maybe coming back that people have asked about. And yeah, what the entire year basically is going to look like. So it's going to be a good start to the year. And then we've got 2 great matches, which, you know, we can't wait for people to see. So those are going to be good as well. Speaking of great matches, TGL launched at the beginning of 2025.
It did. Again, feels ages ago.
the year before, their building fell down. And then finally, we got to see the Bullfrogs versus the LAGC. It's we're going to get onto some stories from the world of professional golf as well later on, but at the beginning of the year, it was one of our kind of not major, but it was one of the talking points that we all were interested in discussing because it was just something new. It was something a bit strange. It's, you know, something that had a link to the kind of digital content world and the creator world because, you know, people like Good are invested in aspects of it, and, you know, Callaway have a little bit of a... So it was very interesting to kind of see how that developed, and to, you know, eulogize about what might, you know, to think about what might be possible in the future, a creator team, a team of 2 pros and a YouTuber. You know, there's a lot there. We talked about lots of that stuff at the beginning of the year, in our build up to what was one of the biggest announcements we've ever made on the main channel, which we actually thankfully got to make on the Rough Cut Golf podcast while we were in California. We stayed in an Airbnb in Carlsbad and ate, what are those things called? Well, it was like a sub.
Yeah.
But it came in a box.
Yeah.
There was loads of different flavors. We also had donuts, a lot of donuts on that trip.
Jersey Mike's.
Pluck
that out of somewhere.
How did you do that? I have no idea.
They always get Jersey Mike's Titleist people. They must have a standing.
Yeah, they have like a business count. Yeah. So we announced Titleist, the Titleist deal at the beginning of this year. Pete got fully fitted and got a new putter, which we showed off on the podcast. So yeah, Titleist, one of the biggest companies in the golf world, you know, took a chance on this lowly Prestonian creator, and I would say that it has been a productive relationship this year. They have looked after us really, really well. They've taken us all over the world. We've played with some great people. Lots of great Titleist related stuff has happened. And then 1 week later, in episode 112, Rick Shiels signs with Live Golf.
Yeah.
So, like, things are changing all over the shop.
Yeah.
Absolutely mad. And then we have, like, lots of discussions about what it means for the wider golf ecosystem. Do you remember the promo video?
Of course.
What a promo video it was.
Like, it's time, or times are changing.
Doesn't he just say, "Are you ready?"
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You ready?
There's this, like, slow zoom. I'll see if I can find it. There's, like, a slow zoom. And it like is him hitting balls on a range, like kind of in the dark.
Yeah.
Where did we work out he was?
It was at some course in America.
Kiowa or somewhere like that?
No. It was I can't remember off the top. Yeah, it was definitely in America somewhere.
Yeah, so it's like this.
I really wanted to do one this year and then just announce it and just be like, nothing has changed.
Are you ready?
Are you ready for the same thing again? You ready for?
And it's Pete just being like, "I'm playing in the Manchester Open." So yeah, that was a very odd one, which changed. You know, it changed
a lot of things.
Saw
some big videos come out of that happening, I guess, and Liv sort of being more involved in the YouTube ecosystem, as you say here. Like, it's obviously something that is still expanding and still developing, and will be interesting to see which way it goes in 2026, really.
And then, you know, they added the jewels and
exactly.
You know, like loads of big creatory stuff happened on the live end of of that world. But yeah, like seeing someone that Pete grew up playing and filming with, and, you know, playing against, seeing someone like that take on a huge, you know, what probably was a risk at the time. You know, obviously there was talk about what the money was like. Obviously, the deal must have been great for them guys for that team to take it. But seeing someone like that take on something like that, we were all like, wow, like wow, we didn't think something like that was possible.
Yeah, I guess you kind of take it as a sense of what's possible rather than, maybe not something that you would do yourself, but go, oh, companies and golf tours and people are listening now.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think I always get to the end of the year and you look back and you go, where can this go from here? Like, you think back on like stuff that happened, and you're like, that must be as far as creative golf is going to go now. Like, how do we go from here? Where do we go from here? And then to start the year, something like that is announced, and then you kind of realize the things that can happen. Obviously the Creative Classic stuff was like a first one for me of like seeing that and going, oh right, they're like actually creating tournaments in inverted commas on the PGA Tour at these incredible courses just before the pros are about to play them. And it's like, wow, we're getting to a point. But then the next thing comes along, and the next thing comes along. So hopefully 2026, even within ourselves now, we know stuff that's happening next year that is going to be incredible. And again, if you're not subscribed here, if you're not subscribed over on the Peter Finch Golf channel, please do so. Notifications, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to be... I think we've got kind of big plans on both sides of things, but I think especially here, there's changes that will be coming that we want you guys to be a part of.
Yeah, so keep your eyes and ears peeled. If you are a podcast app listener, be that the Apple Podcast app, be that Spotify, be that Google Podcasts, be that Deezer.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Let me think of some other ones. If you listen on what you think would be an obscure podcast platform, please put it in the comments. I can't remember what the one is. Stitcher Smart Radio.
Yeah, so you're making it up now.
That's a classic. So if you're listening on one of those, let us know. And yes, keep your eyes and ears peeled because things are going to be changing. We want to involve you guys as much as we can in next year's podcast run. And we're also going to be hitting a pretty big milestone. What are we now? We're December 19th. We're episode 150 something. We're going to hit 200 next year.
Yeah.
So we need to decide whether we're going to do
200.
We're going to do something to celebrate that. We'd love to hear your guys' ideas on what we should do to celebrate that 200th episode. Whether we should do anything at all.
Whether we should stop.
Maybe it should be welcome to 200, and then that should be the last one, and we'll just never do another one again.
Yeah. I think if we should we do like a little quick run through of all the kind of highlights of this year on the podcast, and then we'll get into some golf chat. Do you reckon?
Exactly. Yeah, I think we should.
So if you obviously been following for the whole entire year, we saw episode 113. We spoke to St Andre's Aaron Tuning. Gave some incredible insight about filming with a certain Tiger Woods.
Never heard of him.
Don't know. And then followed up with on 115, Full Swing. That came out, series 3 of Full Swing, which was, I think in most people's eyes, maybe the best one so far.
Yeah, so there was a lot of drama in the kind of first 2 seasons about major winners and live and all that kind of stuff. And then this 3rd season obviously focused quite heavily on the kind of build up to the Ryder Cup teams and who was going to make it and who wasn't going to make it. And we spoke to the insider, the man who knows more than anyone else when it comes to this type of thing, Mr. Dan Rappaports, who also has a great podcast called Down on Golf. So you should go and listen to that because it's really good. And yeah, it's been great this year to get some good guests on. I think that's something we want to try and really lean into in the new year, is to try and think about how we can be so far planned ahead that we sit down and we know we've got this interview with Tiger Woods, Jason Day. I'm talking the big boys.
Yeah.
I want the big boys.
Could I potentially reveal a guest for next year?
Okay. No, don't do it.
Okay.
No, do it.
No, I won't tell the name.
Okay.
But we have a major winner appearing on the podcast next year.
What?
So that's what I'm saying. Just check, just wait and see what happens.
Looking forward to that. Yeah, and then obviously the major event,
nice,
very good. The major event of our year last year was Quest for the Open. If you don't know what Quest for the Open is, I don't know if you've been living.
How are you here?
Yeah. How did you get to this podcast if you don't know what Quest for the Open is? Quest for the Open is Pete's annual quest to make it into the Open Championship. Now, the Open Championship, being that it is open, have qualifying. So you can turn up to a qualifying event, play really, really well, then go and play in a final qualifying event, play really, really well twice, and you're in the Open.
Yeah.
And you get to play in a major, which is incredible. And Pete has been on and off doing it for kind of 10, 15 years now. And this was the first time that he got through regional qualifying. And not only did he get through regional qualifying, he won regional qualifying, which was a very, very cool thing to be a part of and to witness and to document. And the thing I've got noted here was that the year before, in episode 132 was Pete reacting to having won. And it was like the year before we had sat down with Brooklyn Lagers in
that little
hut,
greenkeepers,
the greenkeepers
like
hut
sort of hut thing
at Hesketh, and all had a good cry, and tried to console Pete, having just gone out and played some of the worst golf he played that year. He managed to, at regional qualifying in 2025, play some of his best golf of the year, his most controlled, his most calculated, his most ruthless, his most adaptable golf of the entire year came on the day that he needed it to arrive, which was really, really cool. And then we got to sit in the clubhouse at Caldy and chat through it, which was great.
Yeah. No, that was, hard to look past that day as one of, if not the best day of the year, especially from a golfing standpoint. It was such a good day. It was a hard day. The weather was tough. It was windy, but Pete just played incredible golf. It's a hard. I love and hate those rounds so much because I love that I'm there and I love that I get to witness it because I can live and breathe every moment and I can understand what's happening. When, Pete's going and playing in competitions and someone else is filming, usually we'll try and get that person to just put messages into our work group without Pete in so he's not getting distracted of how he's getting on.
Yeah,
but you don't get the context. I quite like to. I do give quite descriptive.
I'll go back and see if I can find one.
I do try and give quite descriptive explanations because I know that when I'm waiting for a thing to come in, you kind of sometimes don't really get the understanding of how actually things are going. But when you're there, obviously you see all the trials and tribulations of it, and you can't do anything about it.
Here we go.
Have you found some?
I found one.
Wow.
This is from. If we drag this, do we get the date?
These must be. This must be a while ago.
More. No, it's not like
it.
So this is Jacob's type. This is like we get these throughout the day. Oh wait, look at that.
Yeah, they're each hole. I would go in. Shall I read one? Do you want me to read one?
Yeah, read this whole 15 one.
Okay.
So this is the updates we get. If I've done it before, I've just put like par on the third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
14 par.
Bad drive.
2 putt.
Got up and down. Yeah. This is Jacob.
I've gone for hole 15. For a course that has been quite happy to offer 240-yard par 4s, it decides to throw up a 230-yard par 3. Marple or Oakmont? And maybe Pete would be better off at Oakmont because he hits one right down it. It's slightly short, but still great for a hole this length. It deserves a birdie, not to be. Par 2 over through 15.
Yeah, so these are the updates that we get to give. But you're quite right. You don't get the feeling of the sun and the wind and the kind of mild claps that you get if you hit a green or the other great benefit of open qualifying and regional is that there's loads of people there. Mm-hmm. So you're witnessing it. So often we're witnessing it through a tiny little camera screen, which also doesn't help. But you're witnessing it with loads of other people, and you're having conversations walking down fairways, and you're high-fiving each other when something goes well, and you're shaking your heads at each other when something doesn't go to plan, and you're trying to keep Pete out of his own head, but also not talk to him too much. It's a tricky day, but it was one of the most enjoyable of the year because he finally did the thing that he should have done lots of times so far, which is to go out and get through regional. And then final, obviously, didn't go the way we wanted it to. It was a new thing for him. And obviously, he was up against former world number ones and, big tournament
DP World Tour winners.
Yeah. So
he played. I think he played amazing. To be honest, his score didn't dictate actually how well I thought he played, especially tee to green. The putting, that was the thing, is that once he built some momentum, he would then 3-putt from somewhere. Yeah. And again, the greens are tough at Dundonald. There's a few greens that are incredibly undulating and they are very hard. But, we sat and watched him play 36 holes with two previous, Mark Warren and Jack Senior, both DP World Tour winners.
And both also lovely, by the way.
Really nice guys.
Yeah.
I sat and watched him play 36 holes with these two guys, and at no point ever thought he looks out of place with a driver or an iron or a wedge in his hand. The only time was that they just never 3-putt. Their putting was so solid. And it wasn't even like Pete did it a lot, but it was just he did it enough times over 36 holes that whether it was that he just made 4 bogeys by doing it, but I think more so was the sort of stunting himself in trying to get going and sort of making a birdie and then following it up with a 3-putt or something, just those kind of things. And I think he just struggled to get into the rhythm of making a score. And we've played countless times around Dundonald. It's one of the reasons why he picked it as his final. He knew the course well, but it is a hard course.
Yeah,
off
difficult.
The backs, it's really, really tricky. But it was a good day of weather. I think I remember it was pretty solid.
We got bloody sunburnt out there.
Yeah, it was nice. But hopefully, fingers crossed, 2026 we'll get back and give it another go and give it a better shot this year.
Yeah, he's had. He had the worst experience he could have had, which in the previous year, where he had played great golf the entire year. We got to Hesketh and thought this is a walk, and we were talking about how much under par he was going to be, and then the event got on top of him, and he said, quite candidly that he just he couldn't feel anything, which was a big struggle. And then we have this huge focus in 2025 on his mental game and staying process driven and focusing on the things he can control, which then culminates in him getting through regional and meeting this entirely new beast where you have to not only do that but also have your best golf on the day that for the 2 rounds that you need to have it. So we'll go into the new year with an expectation of him playing really well and working really hard. But he'll just need to add another thing to his arsenal of skills. He's got the golf. He's worked on his mental so much, that his physical fitness is something he's going to want to focus on in the new year. Sleep, diet, all of those things will have a massive effect on how he goes about the year. And then he just has to have the right golf on the right day and get a couple of right breaks, and things will be very different in the final, I think.
And then we sort of from August, September onwards, it was just this kind of like big free fall to where we are now, I guess, because it was just sort of event after thing that kind of kept happening. Obviously, you can't really bypass September without talking about the Ryder Cup. We spoke about it a lot in the build-up.
I think we had 8 episodes in a row, Ryder Cup focused.
Just so many stories. There's so many talking points. The teams and the captains' picks was such a big talking point. It was a stipulation of what was going to happen, how the Ryder Cup was going to go, because of the fact that we now had it, that we had 6 picks as well with the Americans, and which way we were going to go with that. There was people that were not playing well, were playing well, people coming back up that the Mats Fitzpatricks, people like that. It was a run of just storylines and information and new things coming out all the time. And obviously the Ryder Cup's the Ryder Cup. There was a buzz and excitement, and because of the fact of what happened in the end, that we felt that Europe could win, and they did win, and they won what felt convincingly. But obviously on that final day there was moments where we were worried. But obviously they eventually did come over, and to those who are not that this, I feel like this has lost weighting over the years. But for those who are in the UK, we have the BBC Sports Personality of the Year Awards, or Sports of the Year Awards. Rory McIlroy won. which is great, to be honest, because I remember as a kid watching it, and Luke Donald was in the thing, and it was when he just topped both the money list in the DP World Tour and the PGA Tour.
Was he world number one?
And he was world number
one.
one.
Yeah.
He hadn't won a major though, obviously, and he didn't win. And I always thought, well, the golf's never. They're never going to give it to a golfer.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Zara Phillips won it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
I think it's been 36 years since a golfer won it.
So it must have been a long time.
Yeah.
So Rory McIlroy Sports Personality of the Year, and the European team won Team of the Year as well.
Quite right.
It was a hell of a performance. Obviously, something about home field advantage is something that we always talk about in the Ryder Cup, and they went and executed it so well.
The first 2 days were so almost perfect that the kind of final day didn't. Obviously, it does matter because everything can change, and we've seen that happen. But it didn't matter because Europe had got so far ahead and had got such a mental advantage by that point that the final day just came down to us needing like 1 or 2 points to win it, which was great. And then me and Pete kind of woke up the next day and tried to do a podcast. We had to fight an ice machine for audio dominance. We had to fight. We have to fight our own schedule because we're supposed to leave the hotel. And then also when we went to the invitation of the assembly area that BMW had put up, and there's loads of food and coffee and a putting green and all this stuff. We went down there. We're like, we'll do the podcast there. It's all gone.
No.
We got down there. We got down there in the morning, and you can just hear. There's people taking away. We were
they don't mess about.
Yeah. It was a very efficient operation. The Ryder Cup was great. We got to experience something that our generation of golf fans will now remember us going and winning an away Ryder Cup in New York when no one said it could be done. It was a. And I got to go, which was even better. And I will never stop telling people that I was there.
Did you? I didn't know that.
I was there. So speaking of partners with regards to BMW, we also had Johnny O ambassador Danny Maud on the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, Johnny O as well, to touch on, have been great again this year. I will admittedly hold my hands up and say that I had not heard of Johnny O before we signed for them. Now I do. Their stuff's great. I love their stuff. You
got a fresh shipment just this morning on your desk.
Yeah, I got a few bits and pieces in there. Yeah. We're gonna touch upon what's actually currently running, I say running right now. It happened a couple of weeks ago with the showdown with Rick. But whilst we were away filming that, Ed, his videographer I was speaking to, and he was saying to me how he just exclusively buys Johnny O. He just loves it.
Right.
So it's becoming, I guess through Pete, I hopefully think in this country more of a common knowledge of knowing about Johnny O and seeing them and understand. And like I say, can't recommend them enough. The stuff is amazing, and they've looked after us incredibly. In what is our first year working with them, which is great. But as you say, I had Danny Maud on the pod. Again, I think you guys have shown, and we want to bring more voices onto the podcast and bring more guests and crack these stories that people have that you just don't hear, which is the beauty of podcast.
We had Phil Kenyon, we had Josh Simpson just last week, a couple of weeks ago. We had. Who else have we had this year? We've had Matt Fryer. Matt Fryer and Pete did one from bed, which was very fun. But it's one of our goals for next year is to really prioritize getting. We film with lots of these people, and Pete has meetings and conversations with people like this all the time. So we're going to really try and prioritize getting some great guests on in 2026. And if there's anyone who you would love to hear tell their story, or if you have some incredible golf-related story to tell, you can leave a comment or you can shoot us an email or join the Discord. Join the Discord and send us a message. And if we want to tell your story and we can see our audience getting some value from it, then we'll do it. We're open to anything in 2026, but we're going to concentrate on getting some great guests. Yeah, for sure. And then I suppose, really for the final sort of rundown of the few months, we had quite a lot of competition golf in different forms. There was a lot of different versions of playing for money and points and prestige. quite dramatically, Peter attended the Internet Invitational, where friend of the channel, in episode 150, we talked about Luke Kwon missing his tea time, which in that first video was the major selling point of, the major story of the video, and then kind of carried through all the way through to 151 and 152, where we covered Pete getting caught up in the final round cheating scandal, allegedly. And then, we came through the Internet Invitational period, which we're looking forward to potentially happening again next year. We haven't had anything confirmed yet, but we would love to have that happen again next year and for Pete to be invited again. So, Dave, let us know. And then Pete played in like a proper professional golf event.
Yeah, like this is real stuff.
And then everything went wrong. He made the cut. He made the cut and he got back on the OWGR list, but so many things went wrong on that trip that he must have had his mental game controlled, because otherwise he would not have made it.
I think that was a great representation of the progress Peter has made this year regarding his mental game.
Definitely.
I think a lot of those things, though, whilst they probably happened and he would have reacted in a similar manner at the time, his ability to shake them and then replace his thoughts with something slightly more positive has definitely been the case. I mean, going through playing your first professional tournament in a foreign country on a course you've not played before against, some players that were in the top 1,000 in the world. And making the cut despite being in a car crash, despite having your ball stolen in a round. Despite missing all of your clothes because they don't come off the flight.
Big problem.
Also a big one. And eating something slightly dodgy and having a funny tummy all week.
Yeah.
Which that would have just set me off by itself.
Yeah, if you can think of all the things you don't want to happen whilst you're playing in your first, big professional tour event, you don't want you don't want physical drama. You don't want all of your clothes to go missing, and you don't want someone to steal all your equipment.
Yeah. And they all happen. So well done, Peter Finch and Sam and Carly, for getting through that and doing something that triggered in our minds a little bit of a challenge for Peter for next year. So we're actually going to launch an entirely new series next year, which we haven't done for a little while, maybe since Record Breakers. We'll get to that at a later date. I know lots of people have been asking me about Record Breakers in Discord. But yeah, we're going to be launching a new series, which is very exciting. Pete is going to go and try and achieve something that would be flaming incredible if we managed to do it. Yeah. But the event at the Egyptian Open spurred us and him onto wanting to try and do it next year. So there's a whole new series coming next year, which I think mostly in the second half of the year, once kind of Quest for the Open has wrapped up. Yep.
But that is going to be his goal for the second half of 2026 is to go and do something.
It's lofty.
Yeah, it's very lofty.
It's something that if he can achieve it, and even if he doesn't, the journey and the process and whatever he gets to will be something you want to hang around and wait for. So exactly. Again, we will all will be revealed very soon, but we want you guys to know that there's stuff that we're really going to push for next year to level things up. If you guys are coming over from the main channel, we see a lot of your comments and appreciate a lot of your comments about the quality of the videography and the editing and all that kind of stuff. And it's something that, we pride ourselves in a lot, that we want to produce. And when people are asked the question, who makes the best videos on YouTube, we want the answer to be Peter Finch Golf. So we do really appreciate all the messages that you've sent throughout the year. There's been some big videos this year and some big videos that are coming, and even coming out at the end of this year with the Rick stuff, which I guess is kind of where we're at now. Like episode 153, that's where we announced this whole thing, the showdown, throwing it way back for Rick versus Pete. One of their first sort of work trips together was to Turkey, which is where we headed to.
You actually went and filmed this trip. So if the videography is good, even on Rick's videos, we could say, well done, Jacob.
Just can you, if you haven't already, can you go back and watch Rick's videos? Actually, you don't need to watch them. Just go back and just type like drone footage. Amazing. The drone footage. This is what made this video.
The outstanding media capture device here is the drone.
Yeah, incredible. That would make me very happy.
Yeah, the B cam really nice.
So yeah, there's been a lot that's happened this year, and it's kind of nice to have a little bit of a reflect on that, because you kind of forget stuff. There's some things there that you actually, oh my gosh, that was this year.
Wild.
Thinking back to January, February, March time, it's a lot's happened, a lot will continue to happen, and it's been such a fun year of podcasting. It's been great. Go on.
I think it has been a year of drama, and we've had some great discussions. We've covered some incredible deep scandals in the world of YouTube golf. But I think what will stay with all of us for the longest time is Peter's now iconic podcast intros.
If you've got a little time, then come and spend it with us, 'cause now you're listening to the Rough Cut.
Welcome down to the Rough Cut Golf Podcast. Welcome down to the Rough Cut Golf Podcast.
Yes, they, as you've just heard, are great. And I think we should encourage him to make them even more elaborate in 2026.
Let your creativity run free.
Yeah, let's have him run in.
Yeah.
With a roaming microphone. Yeah. In a very Ace Ventura way. Let's have fireworks.
Great.
Let's have a 21-gun salute.
Yeah, fireworks indoors has always worked.
Why not? But okay, so let's.
I was going to drop a really niche reference.
Well, you go on.
I was going to say, I don't even think you're going to get it. But I was going to say that fireworks inside the house didn't even work for Balotelli, and if people know the fact that, but no one's going to know that.
That is so niche. Even from which we don't, obviously these kind of things are important, but from a growth and, opportunity of us getting bigger and better and more of you guys coming on. We have had a pretty successful year. Yes, we've added 10,300 new subscribers.
Thank you.
Thank you for subscribing.
I think 10,299 of you were after the invitational video.
Yes, thanks so much for that. And
if you are meeting us for the first time, thank you for coming over.
Yeah, it is normal. I was going to say it's not normally this chaotic, but it is normally this chaotic.
Yeah. So I think we've got Paige to thank, haven't we, really?
Yeah, Melosi, Paige, Dave, thank you for the 10,000.
Brad, thanks for asking Pete to be your
100%
rule adjudicator.
In fact, we should probably ring Brad and say thanks so much for the 10,000 subscribers. However, there are some things that we'd like to address, and they're not good things, you lot. 72.1 of our viewers in 2025 are not subscribed.
How dare you?
Honestly, this is the best golf podcast on the planet.
How dare you?
How very dare you?
That is rude.
Yeah, so what we'd love you to do, because we want you to know the things that we find out. And we find out a lot of stuff because we're on the inside. Weird. And we want you to know all the things, and we don't want you to miss anything from the world of YouTube golf and the Peter Finch ecosystem. So make sure you subscribe right now. We'll wait. Do it. Go on. Yep.
I'm not going to talk about anything else until you've done it.
And I'm going to talk about this. And of the people who are subscribed, only 6.7% have their notifications activated.
Well, now I'm not talking at all.
Now I'm not talking at all. I will, because I like the sound of my own voice, as you'll know. But I think that probably makes a little bit more sense for a podcast channel, because people know it's coming out on a Tuesday at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
You don't need notification. Just sat there at 7:55 waiting for it.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. I assume that's the only reason why 6.7 of you are not got your notifications on. Yeah. That can be the only reason.
It's a percentage that I don't like.
Yeah, because the rest of them are just sat waiting. They know what's going to come.
Do you like them numbers though?
6, 7.
Oh my god. What time was
Oh, I
that?
hate
53.
I hate myself.
Got to make sure I put that in. Okay, so just to finish you off, we're 54 minutes in. Not all of it is going to make it because lots of it's going to be saved. We're just going to talk about my favourite pro golf moments from the year, and then we're going to reminisce about how ridiculous they were.
Okay.
Rory won the Masters. Congratulations. Yes, it was a great tournament.
Amazing.
Justin Rose was was my favourite going in. Experience, knows the course, putts like a demon. But we wanted Rory to win. Everyone did. Even Bryson probably was secretly happy for him because he did something that he had been trying to do for years and years and years. He's added his name to a very short list of people who have won the Grand Slam, and it was incredible. We cried, we laughed, we celebrated. Now, well done, Rory. You're also the sports personality of the year. My other favourite thing about the majors this year was Shane Lowry swearing.
Yeah, I mean, he does it a lot. So was there something in particular about his swearing? The words he used? The gusto he performed them with?
I'll tell you.
Okay.
Shane Lowry swore in sight of a camera at all three majors apart from Augusta.
Respect. I like it.
And he said the same thing every time.
Can we...
Here are all three of them.
Okay.
So you'll see that he uses the same three-word sentiment in all of those. I think probably he didn't say it at Augusta because he would have been banned for life, potentially. But he didn't have a particularly good year in the majors.
I mean, the Portrush one's a bit...
That
place is basically giving you your golf career, so I don't really know.
And they have a slightly dodgy mural of you going into town.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he actually wasn't bothered about it. It was like he just drove past, that came into his head. And he was like, oh, for God's sake, F this place.
F this place, exactly. But we drank in his pub.
It's
not his pub. In the Harbour Bar when we went.
Yeah.
I had my first Guinness.
Yeah, you did.
It's actually my only Guinness. It's actually my only Guinness I've ever had. I didn't like it that much.
I don't think anyone really likes their first Guinness.
Do you have to keep going?
I think so.
Okay.
I feel like there's been two stages of my drinking life that I've had to push through the barrier of not enjoying the drinks.
Yeah.
I mean, I had like 11 years of not drinking, and then I was 12.
I was like, oh wow, that's really brave to admit.
No. I remember going on my first ever lads' holiday to Zante. And I grew up in Herefordshire, so my drinking experience was purely cider. Wow. Obviously. Just Stofords through and through. Cut me open, I bled Stofords.
Wow.
But I knew that when I was going away to Zakynthos...
I didn't know you were such a lad.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I didn't think that they would have Stofords on draft in Zante.
Yeah.
And I was correct.
Rightly, yeah.
I think it was maybe they had Strongbow or something like that.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't really like that. I don't want to drink. So I had to like force myself into lager. I just had to like sip it, drink it, have it as a shandy, have it as a top.
Yeah.
Get through. Did it. Same with Guinness. Went to Ireland for the first time. When I was in Ireland, I told myself I have to drink Guinness. I have to. Had the first one. I'm drinking it. It's fine. Probably same experience as you.
Yeah.
Didn't love it.
Yeah.
Second one.
Tastes a bit like beer mixed with coffee and dirt.
Yeah. Second one. The taste is already kind of in my mouth, so I'm just piling on top of a taste that I'm not really loving right now, but I'm starting to feel a little bit happier.
Okay.
Because I'm drinking alcohol.
Good. Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
You have just done Christmas. Don't overdo it.
Once you hit your 19th pint, no, I'm joking. When you break through the barrier, I think you fall into what really is your best drinking time, your peak drinking experiences.
Right. So you've got through the alco pop phase.
Yes.
You've got into lager.
Yeah.
Because your dad says you can't drink that.
Yeah.
That's for...
Get that apple juice out.
Yeah. What's that? Fruit. It's for the ladies. And then you drink Guinness because you go to Ireland.
Correct.
And then when you order a Guinness in a pub somewhere else, people go, "Oh, a man of culture."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very wintry drink for me. I will fall into Guinness once again in these kind of colder months. It kind of feels a bit like a nice warm hug.
Okay.
Whereas a lager in the sun in a beer garden Guinness doesn't scream that to me.
No, it doesn't. It feels like leaving meat out in the sun.
Yeah, I don't know where I progress from here. I don't know where the next.
You go back to cider.
Maybe that's what it is.
Or maybe you get now you have to get into wine.
That's what I actually am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to now you have to be
100%.
You have to be into wine, and then you have to become a wine snob and only drink fancy, nice wine.
Yeah, but I'm not. I've not made the route to red yet.
Oh my god, I'm so far there.
Yeah, I'm not. I like red. I wouldn't turn it down, but I'm sitting quietly on my white wine fence at the minute.
I can't drink white wine, and it's because of a man called Paul Watts, who I'm going to call out on the podcast. You know when you play sports as a kid, I think this might have gone off.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's back. You know when you play sports as a kid, and you play those sports outside of school, and you might have your like school best friend, and your like sports club best friend.
Yeah.
My sports club best friend, who ended up being like one of my oldest friends, is a guy called Cameron, and his school best friend was a guy called Paul. And we went to Cameron's 18th birthday party in the cafe building at the park. What's the park called in Watford? I can't remember. Anyway, at the cafe building in the park, I turned down VIP tickets to go and see Snow Patrol.
Oh,
to go to this.
What a friend.
To go to this party, and Paul Watts sabotaged me. He would bring 2 glasses of white wine and say, "Oh, Mick, we're going to do this." I'd neck mine, and his would be water.
Oh.
Right? Don't think I've forgotten. I haven't. So I have 10 glasses of white wine.
Okay.
I throw up all over my friend Phil.
Okay.
I throw up all over Cameron's mum. I throw up all over the dance floor. And I wake up back in my own bed.
You just there. Yeah.
In Harrow, which is a like 25-minute drive away.
Yeah.
So white wine is not on my agenda.
See, I thought you were going to say that like you had like a race the next day.
Oh.
And then like he was like go, "Oh no, it doesn't matter, mate. We'll be fine." And then like
no, they were school friends. I think Paul ended up playing hockey for England, field hockey. He was very good at field hockey. Beautiful man, very talented.
I hate those type of people.
Yeah, aren't they horrible? Okay, so let's talk about 2 of such people who are now hated for what they could not achieve at the Ryder Cup. One of my other favourite moments from this year was when Keegan Bradley picked statistically the worst possible pairing he could have picked in the foursomes on the Friday morning session of the Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black. Data Golf had worked out that of the 132 possible combinations of American players, this was the statistically worst pairing they could have put out. And they put it out against probably the best English team, best British team on that day. They're not British, they're European because Rory McIlroy is from Northern Ireland. The best European team on that day, which was Tommy Fleetwood and Rory McIlroy, both obviously huge Ryder Cup players now. And they got trounced 5-4. Congratulations, Keegan Bradley. You're a moron. How does someone who is captaining a Ryder Cup team against probably one of the most prepared captains of all time not think, should we check Data Golf to see if this is actually a good pairing, or should we just go with our gut?
I fail to believe that with the amount of effort they put into with the data and analytics and understanding like what works, that they didn't not know that. There must have been something that came up whilst they were doing this that goes, them 2 probably don't work together.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. I don't get it. Like, what? There was no saving feature of them playing together.
No.
You didn't look at them even as a natural like pairing and go, those 2 are like the best mates on tour. You know they hang out all the time. They want to play with it. Like, I don't even know if them 2 have spoken to each other before.
And they haven't spoken to each other since.
No.
Well, actually, they did. Well, we'll get onto that in a second. Wyndham Clark's Oakmont letter.
Yeah.
This was a good one. So Wyndham Clark throws a club at the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, like aggressively. Throws a driver into a like hoarding where there are actually spectators standing, and then immediately misses the cut of the US Open, and took it out on the Oakmont dressing room lockers, like you would. And the Oakmont board punished him by banning him from the club.
Yeah.
And said, you can come back. However, reinstatement would be contingent on Mr. Clark fulfilling a number of specific conditions, including full repayment for damages, a meaningful contribution to a charity of the board's choosing, and the successful completion of counselling and/or anger management sessions. Not only did they send this in a letter to him, they sent it in a public letter to him. How do we feel about him being asked to go and do anger management or counselling sessions? Obviously, the guy is playing a incredibly competitive sport. There's such high pressure. He wants to play well. You know, he's one of the players that we're expecting to do great in a US Open and a PGA Championship. He doesn't have a good year. Was he justified in smashing up a load of lockers?
Oh, no, he wasn't justified. I just don't think that a golf course board has the entitlement, I guess, or the power to say to someone that you need to go to therapy. I don't know if that's kind of within their wheelhouse of things that they should be doing, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad suggestion. We saw through Full Swing that it's something that he, actually kind of was already sort of going through anyway.
Yeah.
We all know that in the height of, in sporting environments, when you're playing at the top of your game and you want to do well and you are not necessarily performing in the way you can do, that will bring up these kind of emotions, but you have to be able to deal with them and also show much more respect to one of the older courses and standing courses in the US that, Oakmont as a US Open venue is history, it's pedigree, it's the place that a lot of Americans will know as one of the homes of the US Open. So to whatever he did put foot, driver, head, fist through a locker is probably not the best way to represent yourself in that regard.
Yeah, not only does the golf course have history and the championship has history, that locker probably bloody had history as well, didn't it? It's got bloody Sam Snead's name on it, or Bobby, someone's name is going to be on there. So yes, Wyndham Clark threw a little bit of a hissy fit and now needs to become more zen. Speaking of people who are probably a little bit too zen, Scotty Scheffler gets existential at Portrush. So he speaks of the satisfaction of winning a tournament, even a major tournament, wearing off very quickly, and it leaves you kind of bewildered and unsatisfied and and a bit kind of empty. And in the end, the crowd didn't want him to win anyway, because they were hoping for a comeback from McIlroy, or they were hoping for Hao Tong Lee to hold on. So, in fact, the Open Championship hype died off very quickly for him, and it died off very quickly for everyone else as well.
It was the thing that did it for me was the fact that he openly and spoke candidly about the fact that he's literally like, I'd rather be a better father. And it was just like the way he did it, it just felt so, I don't really care if I'm good at golf. I'm going to go and win this tournament anyway. And you're all going to be really annoyed at me for doing it. I don't care, because I don't care either. I'm just going to go home and be a father again, and that's fine. And I know some people had different perceptions of it. I know some people took it in different ways, but I feel that the hype and the enjoyment of the Open, that was one of the big catalysts for that, and it enabled it to become something that it wasn't. He obviously played impressive golf over that week, and put himself in a position to allow it to be the case that he just strode in and won the Open with basically his eyes closed.
Yeah.
But watching someone who you've just heard say, I don't really care about it, really, really annoyed me.
I think it annoyed a lot of people. Pete was on the ground and he was saying that the crowd were kind of rooting against him. There was a moment where he made double bogey. He tried to hit a ball out of a bunker, and it hit the lip and rolled back down towards him, and everyone cheered because, do we want this? The things that we love about golf, and particularly major championship golf, are that the stories of the people who win them end up lasting forever, because you're going to come back next year and they're going to talk about the guy who won it, and they're going to come back next year and they're going to talk about the guy who won it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You're joining a group of people who have won that major, and you're becoming part of a wider story. The story of this year's Open was Scotty Scheffler didn't really want to win because it doesn't mean anything to him, and when he won, didn't really celebrate that much. everyone on the ground kind of didn't want him to win anyway.
Yeah. I guess for...
I can also understand wanting to be a good dad.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
That's fine, but you are playing a highly competitive sport against people who you probably can beat. So it came off as like a little bit arrogant.
Yeah.
And it came off as a little bit disrespectful to everyone else. That was what it was.
I think for me, it was like, for a sport that is essentially my life, really, in that I work it, live it, breathe it in every capacity, whether I want to or not.
Yeah.
I would like the guy who is the best at it in the world to feel like he also cares about it.
This is a great way of putting it.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe there is this kind of different change of perception of that when you do have a child and your commitments and your things that you are most, you care about the most, and what you kind of put your investment of time into changes, and you kind of get this new, viewpoint and standpoint on a lease of life of how you should deal with things. But like I say, if you're going to be the best, I want you to show that you want to be the best. And he does that in his golf, absolutely. But he doesn't do it in his words to make me think like it's annoying, because I just get this image of him just basically winning a golf tournament, going home and playing peekaboo, and then feeding his kid and reading a book for him to go to bed, and then he wakes up and then just doesn't play golf again until he gets to the first tee on a Thursday, and then wins it, goes home on Sunday night, plays peekaboo, go to bed.
I think I have this like weird image of him coming home with the claret jug and like just chucking it in a pile of other trophies he's won.
It goes into his kid's like toy box. Like that's another thing he can just play with. He can
God.
like, oh, can you warm up his milk? All right, let me put it in the claret jug.
God, I think Brian Harmon and Xander Schauffele and all of those guys would be so Shane Lowry particularly would be so disappointed in how he just drank warm milk out of this claret jug. What and they ask those questions when he gives the trophy back next year, like, oh, what liquids have you drunk out of it? Oh, we had warm breast milk. And you're like, Scotty, we had an iced coffee out of it a couple of times. Brother, care, because we do.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Drivergate next. So Scotty's also involved here. Tournament officials declare that Rory's driver is non-conforming during a pre-championship test at the PGA.
Yep.
Just after he's won Augusta, sparking all of these questions about whether the driver is illegal. After the tournament, Scheffler having won, Rahm tries to catch him, doesn't quite get it. Scheffler also admits that he had his driver come up as non-conforming, forcing him to switch it late. But no one talks about that because the press is all about Rory having cheated to win the Masters.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Again, just why? Leave him alone.
Yeah.
It was the story wasn't that though. It was the story it was, but it shouldn't have been. It was the fact that, you've just heard the person who won it also say that, oh yeah, I think I probably was using a non-conforming one as well. But they've come hard down on Rory, and then they've let the guy win the tournament with a driver that's not the same thing.
Also, the problem was that this all came out before the tournament, and Scheffler didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And then someone leaked that Rory's driver had been non-conforming at the beginning, and no one leaked that Scheffler's driver had also been non-conforming, and then Rory refused to do press on Thursday and Friday because he was playing badly. And he didn't want to talk about the driver, which is obviously what everyone was going to ask him about. And then at the end, when Scheffler was talking about what had happened to Rory, he was like, I think mine was also not... So anyway. Yeah.
But the thing, like, from Scheffler admitting that, I feel almost like whether there needed to be a reason or not, essentially can legitimize the Masters win, because the fact that if there's... You're always in the situation like that, is if someone is using a piece of equipment that is non-conforming or is giving them an advantage and they're the only one doing it, then they have an advantage over the field. Now, obviously, if this was a case of that it was only happening with the tailor-made model drivers that they were using, obviously the only people that were getting the advantage was the tailor-made people. So there obviously is an effect over certain elements of the field, but, we can see that clearly other people had the same, if not similar, drivers in the bag.
And also,
so whether or not other people were doing it.
Yeah, well, yes, but also, do you not think they tested his driver at the Masters?
Well, yeah,
he's got to be stood on the range, and they've gone, you in here. It's got to be part of it. They will have tested everyone's equipment. Pete always talks about these tolerances, like getting to a certain point and then slowly and then like very quickly like flipping over the line and suddenly it's now an illegal club. So he was probably quite close to the line because, you know, it happened later. But also, like, how many drivers is he hitting between that second last drive on 18 in the playoff? How many drivers is he hitting between there and playing? You know, he must have hit hundreds. So it's become, anyway, we're on to my last my most favorite thing that happened during 2025 in the world of pro golf. Keegan Bradley, this might sound like a clip from previously in the podcast. Keegan Bradley runs out Harris English and Colin Morikawa for a second time at the Ryder Cup. So as if putting the worst possible combination out against arguably Team Europe's strongest felt like a mind-blowing punch in his own face. Nothing could compare to the reaction on Friday night when the Saturday morning foursomes pairings were announced, and there they were again.
Wow.
And they
doubled down.
And they played Tommy and Rory again.
He just doubled down.
Wow. He had the 132nd worst combination, and the only things, and he also had the 131st worst combination. The only thing separating 131 and 132 is which one of them teed off on the first.
So they could have made it better, and they still went for the worst option.
It's like he made a terrible analytics mistake. He went with his head instead of with what the numbers told him was right. Got called out for it very publicly for making a terrible decision, and then thought, you know what, we're going to do that again.
Yeah. But doesn't that scream American, though?
It does. It really, really does. And it's why they didn't win the Ryder Cup. And it's why, and spoilers, they won't win a Ryder Cup until something drastic changes with the way they pick their players.
We love all of our American listeners, by the way.
We do. But your captain was a bit of a silly sausage. And we beat you. And I hate to say this, we're going to beat you at Adair again.
I would love to beat Adair. That's going to be so good. Do you reckon Donald's going to do it again?
It's a tricky one. He could.
I think he'll.
Why would he risk it?
No, I think he will. I think he'll do it.
The only person who they could give it to Paul McGinley again.
Yeah. There's options though. There's options. I think
Rose will want to play, so it can't be Rose. Think about the players who went to live who don't get a shot now. It could be one of the Molinaris. But you know,
time heals.
Time heals,
you know.
And we're going to leave you with time heals. Jacob's actually going to sing. You're going to sing "Old Lang Syne" for us, I hear.
Everyone, grab hands to your nearest partner. I don't know the words.
Okay, we're not going to sing "Old Lang Syne." Anyway, that was the last podcast. You're actually a really good whistler.
Thank you.
Good. That was the last podcast of 2025. You have made it. And if you are still here 1 hour and 15 minutes in. Yep, line 2.
I think you keep going as I do it.
Yeah. Then thank you so much for being with us this year. We really do appreciate you subscribing. We appreciate all of your comments. We love everyone in the Discord. Stay tuned for new things coming in 2026, for guests, for exciting games, for silly quizzes, for Peter's introductions. We love doing this podcast and we love sharing it with you lot. So thank you so much for 2025 and we'll see you in the new year.
Good like I did.
Bye everyone. See you later.